This episode of the Inside Running Podcast is proudly brought to you by 2&U. With the goal of making the best performance sunglasses for every adventure on the planet, 2&U is excited to introduce their athleisure sunglasses for our runners. Runners looking for super comfort and visual excellence should explore 2&U. Available now at Gold Coast Marathon Expo and 2NU.vision. Enjoy the show. Welcome to episode number 348 of the Inside Running Podcast. Thank you for joining us for another week. We've got a big show coming at you. It's Gold Coast Marathon Race Week, so we're talking about that. Got the elite fields to preview as well. We've got some patrons to thank. We've got US trials to talk about. There's results happening all over the world because the qualifying period did end last night for the upcoming Olympics. Western States happened. Sandown relays happened in Victoria. Listen to question. Moose on the loose. Bit of stuff happening this week, fellas. Welcome to you, Bradley Croker. The man is up in Canberra, the 2:17 marathon man, the Wollongong half marathon champion, and it's race week for him, ladies and gents. The one weekend where he gets himself up is this weekend coming at the Gold Coast Marathon. Welcome to you, Croaks.
Thanks, Brady. Not exactly racing, but I'll be up there. And the qualification period, technically, as we're recording now, hasn't ended.
Oh, because of European times.
Still 30th of June around the world.
Jeez, we'd be getting close to ticking over, wouldn't we? What's the time over there in Europe at the moment, Croaks?
Well, the US. The US.
US.
It would be there that evening of the 30th.
Might tick over while we're recording, hey, you reckon? But yeah, good pick up on me there. Thanks for that. Other co-host, just explaining off air how he's flying business class up to Gold Coast for an hour and a half flight. He's going to be sitting at the front of the plane. Croaks, Julian Spence, welcome to you.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, you don't quite understand the concept of a larger seat or how that might benefit somebody.
Okay, I want the listener feedback for this one. So Moose is going Melbourne to Sydney, Sydney to Gold Coast, and explaining because he wants to be in the lounges, but he's going to have a whole lot more wait time because he needs to take 2 flights. Wouldn't you just rough it in economy and get up there sooner with less inconvenience about getting on and off the plane? That's what I'd do,
I'm not sure I don't think there was economy flights available to book on points, which is what I did. So, I'd take the business flight instead. Yeah, we go through Sydney, but Pierre's never been to Sydney, mate. Go and show her the sights.
You're going to look out a window for 25 minutes?
I'm just making her more cultured and worldly. Not a lot of culture in Sydney, though, let's be honest. Not the sort of culture we want to expose her to anyway.
Confident getting there on time, Moose?
Well, we're going on Tuesday, mate, so hopefully it should allow us 5 or 6 days before the big Lululemon live podcast.
Yeah, so that's the main reason you're going up, isn't it? To be the star of the show at the live show on the Sunday afternoon. No racing for you?
No, right. Oh, well, I was thinking about getting in with Croaks for his workout during the week, but he's sort of a bit sly on that, and he a little bit cagey, I reckon.
Gets cagey race week.
Yeah, he just tends to hide back in the message group, throw out a few little insecure comments like, "Oh, I'm not feeling real fit. Might drop down a group." This kind of stuff. Craves
attention in race week as well, doesn't he? A bit of drama. Come on, boys, pump me up a bit. Those kind of things.
Yeah, it's big eyes on Brad for this week, and it's okay. He doesn't race that often, so we'll give it to him.
Once a year, you've got to make him the star. I agree. Tell us about running.
Not racing.
So you do have. We'll go you first because you did get some news, some clarification, some confirmation that you're going to be getting a start at Melbourne, so you may not have to finish on Sunday now.
Yeah. So I decided on, I don't know, was it Thursday or Friday night? I thought I'll just jump on the Melbourne Marathon website, see if there's a link to elite athlete sort of applications, and I just filled that out. Got a reply basically saying, yep, happy to add you to the elite field will sort out entry in July. So basically I've got an entry now for Melbourne, and I don't have to finish Gold Coast.
Good.
So I will not be finishing Gold Coast.
Even if you're feeling great at 35K?
No, I've got it. My hips shit. Like I need to get my body right. So I can. It's good enough to pace, but I don't need to run 42K on the weekend.
Okay. We'll see what happens on the road out there, Moose. What have you been doing, Moose? Take us through your week. Back doing workouts.
Rebuild week. I start pretty quiet on that Sunday. On the Monday, I just went out for, what was it, like 20 minutes. I got a bit of all clear. Might have even been Tuesday. Let me just double check. Oh, no, it was Monday. Yeah, because I saw Elle on Sunday, Arvo. She kind of gave me the all clear to go for a jog. So I went out for 20 minutes, just adjusted a few things with my shoes, went stiffer through the forefoot, higher pitch. I did some exercises before I went out there and felt fine, no problems. So next day I went out for 30, ran with Brady down the bottom of the hill. That was pretty nice. We haven't run together in ages. So just went flat. I drove down the hill. It takes about 4 minutes down the hill. Then I can run flat for half an hour, no problems. I did that the following day as well, except I went 40 minutes. And then guess what I did the next day?
50 minutes?
48 minutes. Oh, okay. 48 minutes. I didn't get to 50. I tried. Ran up the top, add in a slight little bit of a hill here. Still pretty flat, though. As flat as I could keep it. No problems. 50 minutes the next day, I got there. A bit faster, just because, don't know why, just felt a bit better, I guess. And on Saturday, Arvo, I ran my workout, which on the treadie, 4 by 5 minutes, 75 seconds. Standing off the treadie, don't really know what pace it was. I had the heart rate on though, so that's when I went off the heart rate. So the heart rate was actually pretty low, given that how fast I felt like I was running.
Chuck a number out. What's a number?
I find that as well, Moose. It's like perceived effort on the treadmill. I feel like I'm absolutely sprinting, like my legs can't keep up. But then I look down at my heart rate and it's not that high.
Yeah, I get that when I'm jogging too, on the treadmill.
It's weird, like that. Yeah. Do you reckon part of it is because when you hit the ground's not moving, and you can maybe get a bit more purchase off the ground to spring yourself forward, whereas when you're hitting a moving mat, you don't seem to get maybe as much pop, which then means you feel like you need to turn over a bit quicker.
Well, wouldn't that mean a heart rate would be higher though still if you haven't?
But then I suppose that's balanced out by the fact that you're getting some assistance by the treadmill doing some of the work in terms of like pushing your leg back and stuff like that, maybe.
And no wind resistance. That might have something to do with it.
Jeez,
I do have it on an
incline. Low, looking at it here, 145, 150.
I got up, the maximum that it got up, it never even went near close to threshold, really. But I feel like I've got it on a 1.5% incline, but I actually incline the treadie anyway. So I put timber under the front of it so that it doesn't push down too much into my gym mats, which are a bit soft. I don't know whether that makes a difference or not, but it's a fairly high incline. So that pace isn't right. The treadie was saying it was different to that, but it feels pretty solid anyway. 4 by 5 minutes was enough for me, just as a comeback from that calf niggle. And I'll go back to 2 workouts this week, I think. The long run went well, though. That was Sunday morning. Joined the group out Chocolate Factory. Most people raced on Saturday, so we kept it easy. Gone the traffic light system for a few of my athletes lately, just to give them a bit more direction on what they should be doing on their easy days. So the green means workout, race, kind of license to really push hard. You're allowed to. Orange is keep it under control, but you don't have to have the brakes on if you're feeling good. And then red is brakes are on, look after yourself, no stupid shit. And I think that's going to help with Sundays going forward, especially if there's different people in the group that have different traffic lights going. So the green, like it might split into a couple of groups, which is totally fine if there's different runs going on within the group. Our group's big enough to handle a couple of different groups. Yeah. So
what was this for you? Orange.
Well, for me it was orange. For everyone else it was, well, for a couple of them it was red. It was like Ali was on red, Sammy Williams red. For the ones I coach anyway.
But aren't you quicker than them all who raced at Sandown?
Much quicker, mate.
Going by your Strava. See this, Croaks? Doesn't work out, and then he puts the shape he thinks he's in for the Sandown, and his mates just rip him to shreds.
I
reckon can't go doing this.
I reckon he was just fishing there.
You reckon?
You don't think I took the piss there, mate?
I don't know. I'm with Matty Gunther. He had a good response there.
Oh,
that was
mate,
a good response.
He was quick up. Like, this was the biggest hook, line and sinker I've ever had in my life. Mm-hmm. Bloke got on there. He, about 3 seconds later, it triggered him. Some people are just too easy.
Rock up, keep up, shut up. You ain't doing any of those things currently. And then Toby come off the top rope as well with something. Richie Egan. All your teammates are ripping into you.
There's a couple of fellas here that probably should pipe down.
You say you're fishing, but it's exactly a thing that Julian Spence would say, honestly.
You reckon I would say that?
I think Matty Gunther thought you were serious. That's why, like, he's a very, like, well-spoken, well-mannered man. To come in with that response, I think you did. You tricked him into thinking that's an honest response from you. You
don't reckon I put the calculated time 1 second faster than his time on purpose?
Yeah, I know that's what you were doing, but I generally thought you thought that you were in that shape.
It's not often I've been slower than 19, mate.
Yeah, exactly. I sent you a message during the day saying, "Oh, good run from Matty Gunther." You're like, "No, it wasn't. You didn't even break 19 minutes." Then I saw that later in the day.
But then you did justify it. You did justify it. And apparently the weather was no good. First few legs, pretty windy, and then later on, wind died down.
Yeah, I heard the same, actually.
Yeah. So later legs a bit easier.
Good week.
It's a week,
How many
75K or so. Good,
75.
just set me up for a training camp this week.
Training camp in raining Queensland.
Yeah, well, that's if you got nothing else to do, you might as well go running.
Can't wait for next week. How shit's the Gold Coast? So much concrete.
Oh,
yeah. Rains every day.
Look at it up to day 2. So here he is now, all pumped up for his training camp, but then it'll be like day 2. Shit, this is shit. I want to go home.
I've got a short memory. We're booking a week-long trip to the Gold Coast, a place I hate more than anywhere in the world. How did I do this? How did I get sucked into this again?
Yeah, why are you going so early? You better have some good jokes ready for Sunday Arvo if you're going up with so much preparation time.
Oh, I'm an off-the-cuff man. Actually, I heard a very funny joke today. I can't say it on air, though. It's a real good one. Maybe I'll bust it out on a live show.
Okay. It's going to be good. You got your kit organised? Lululemon hooked you up, sent you some gear?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to be looking sharp. Got some new kicks, too, like these little, what do you call them? Oh, a little lifestyle, kind of like Vans, Converse, lows, like the Nike Blazer. They actually look cool. All white, chuck some brown laces in them. Look good up the front of the plane in them.
Did you change the laces? Because I've got the same pair and I haven't changed the laces yet, but I won't now if you have.
Keep white.
Okay.
Keep them white.
Can't be looking the same. Good week. Looking forward to seeing you in person. Croaks, what are you doing?
So I'll go through my week. Monday, did an hour, 4:23s. Then Tuesday, met the group down at the lake for a session. Actually, it was a bit light on because that's right. A few people were racing at the track on the Wednesday night, so they obviously weren't doing a session on the Tuesday. Smallish group. Session was 3 sets of 3 minute, 2 minute, 1 minute. So a minute standing recovery between the reps and 90 seconds between the sets. This ended up being a pretty good session for me. Like, I actually didn't really believe the GPS. I'm not sure whether I was actually running this fast, but I'll take it. So 3 minute reps were 309, 306, 305. The 2 minute reps, 302, 302, 259, and the 1 minute reps, 255, 254, 252 pace. But I find with this session, you can run pretty quick because the recoveries are standing and you get 90 seconds between the sets. You can run fairly quick and feel like you're still recovering. Hip was pretty good, no real awareness at all. Wednesday, I was going to run mid-morning because I had an MRI booked for like 3:30, but then they called me up about 10 o'clock in the morning and said, can you come in at like midday? So went in for my MRI and then ran that afternoon. So busted out a new pair of the Lululemon half tights, which I had stored away from, I don't know, a year ago. So I did hour 45, 4:11s in the Mizuno Neo Vista, and actually got the MRI report back later that night. So they're pretty quick with that. So showed a few different things, like nothing that's probably super serious, but there was like I had a cam lesion, some bursitis, and some thickness tears and tendinosis in my hamstring. But like I've got no hamstring pain at all, so I can sort of ignore that one. So I'm not sure whether the bursitis has anything to do with my pain or this cam lesion, which I believe is like a growth, an extra sort of bony growth on the head of your femur. So then it doesn't sort of sit properly in the socket. But I was chatting to Rob Wilson because he had hip issues a couple of years ago. He said the same thing sort of came up on his MRI. So I haven't followed up and seen anybody about it yet. But I'm not having too many issues while I'm actually running. Like once it warms up, it's pretty much fine. It's more just in between runs. It's just really shit getting out of bed. And then if I don't take anti-inflams during the day, it can just be a bit sort of every sort of step you take, it's just this 1 or 2 out of 10 pain, which is okay for a while. But then when it sort of is day in, day out, it sort of wears you down a little bit. So that was Wednesday. Thursday, did 45 minutes at 4:23s. And then Friday, I didn't train until the afternoon. I went down to Yerrabee Pond, which is only about 1 kilometre from home. It's where I used to do actually a lot of my sessions, sort of 2017, 2018. It's about 4K around. And so this session was 2x5K off a 3-minute float. And hip and back weren't great for this session. It looks okay on paper, but I was working pretty hard for this. So I ran 16:37 for the first 5K. Floated for 3 minutes at 3:40s, and then ran 16:24 for the second 5K. So it was like 3:19s and 3:16 average. I was working like pretty hard. This was a hard session, so didn't give me a whole heap of confidence for Gold Coast. Just given like a week or two before, I did 50 minutes at 3:20s, and that felt easier than this 35 minutes or so, and I averaged 3:20s as well. So
it's a great example, Croaks. Sorry to interrupt, but I'm literally doing my Sunday long run going, did you see Croaks' workout? Look how fit he is. Like he knocked that section out like to Kramers, and Kramers like, yeah, he's so fit at the moment, like he should go hard in the marathon. But like how much just looking at numbers doesn't give you the full story sometimes.
No, and like I thought it was like I was pretty pissed off at myself actually when I got home. I'm just like,
so why did you push if it wasn't feeling that good?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, but it was one of those days where I reckon if I was running 3:25s, it probably would have felt the same. Like it just didn't have. Just one of those days where like the hip and the back just weren't playing ball, and it didn't really matter what pace I was running at. I just didn't feel smooth or efficient. That being said, it's like a couple of months ago or whenever, like it's still a good session. Like I'll take it. It just didn't feel the way that I would have liked to have felt.
Croaks, were you aiming for pace? Were you aiming for effort, or what was the...
Yeah, so like originally it was probably run more like the pace that I have to do for Gold Coast, which is more like that 3:25s. And then you sort of go out the first K and it's, I don't know, 3:20s, and then it feels okay. So you're like, all right, well, I'll just hold this. And then you sort of get 3/4 of the way through the rep and you're now working too hard, but you sort of, part of it's ego, part of it's you just don't like slowing down in a session, so you just keep rolling. And like, even when I finished the first rep and went into the float, I felt actually okay running the 3:40s. And then I'm like, all right, be disciplined, run the second rep at 3:25s, and then it ended up being faster than the first one. So yeah, it was a shit session in terms of execution, and it was just stupid. anyway, it was 10.8K in 36 minutes at 320s.
It's funny because if you were on the bike and your athlete was doing that, you would literally ride in front of them and slow it down, like give them an earful.
Yeah. But that being said, it's like I feel like when I'm moving well, like, okay, let's compare it to the Sunday before where I ran 25K at 4:08s in the Neo Vista and then rolled straight into 5K at 320s, which is pretty much close to the pace that I was running for the first 5K rep. The 5K at the end of the long run felt easier and more controlled and smooth than the first 5K rep of this session where I hadn't run 25K beforehand. So that's in a pair of shoes that, I was wearing the Alpha Fly 1s for the session. I was wearing Neo Vistas for the long run. And that's where, for me, part of it is body related, because there's no way I should feel better at the end of a long run running 320s versus being fresh at the start of a session.
I'd be interested to know, though, what you did 48 hours earlier before that long run. Do you know what I mean? Like, how much fatigue did you bring into that long run workout compared to this one
I had a
did on Friday? Yeah, what was the session? Can you remember?
Well, yeah, it probably was that was the week. Yeah, actually, that was the week where I only ran 70K.
Yeah, there we go. So you've hit it with a whole lot more freshness. You got more fatigue in your legs for this one.
Yeah, that's right, because I aborted the session on the Tuesday because my hip and back was no good, and then I took Wednesday, Thursday off, jogged Friday, Saturday. Yeah, so
that's your answer.
Yeah.
So, not so much what you did in the half an hour before, it's what you did in the 5 days before.
Yeah. So anyway, it was it was a pretty shit, like, looks okay on paper, but it was just poorly executed.
So has it smacked your confidence for this pacing job? Not really. Like, I know that I can run a 72-minute half because I did it a couple of weeks ago, and it should feel easier on the Gold Coast than it did at Wollongong. Plus, I know the race environment always makes everything feel easier. But, when you feel like you're working pretty hard to run 16:40 and it's only 20 seconds slower than what you're expecting to go through the first 5K, but you're doing it for 30K. Plus just having this hip thing, it's just like constantly sort of there. And it's more about, is Gold Coast going to be the day where your hip's shit? And it's like, doesn't matter what you do, you're just like moving poorly. But I'll be right. Anyway, that was Friday. Saturday, ran a bit around Mulligan's and then headed down and finished down at Lily's Hockey. So that was just under 16K at 4:15s. And then Sunday, shitty day here. It was like top of like 9 degrees, wet, bit windy. I didn't get out till 9 o'clock. I did 2 hours, 4:11s. Hip and back was like niggly for the first hour and then felt nothing for the second hour. So that was 28.7K for a week of, 130K, which that 130K in singles. So that's pretty decent week. But I'm in sort of two minds now. I'm actually thinking of almost having this week off, or just like not doing much, to just see if I can actually get on top of the hip completely. Because if I just train through normally this week, then I don't think the hip's going to come good. And then the hip will still be sore after the marathon or the pacing. Whereas if I actually just do very little this week, like go out for 30-minute runs, maybe do 3K at marathon pace later in the week, then hopefully I get to like the marathon and I'm 100%, and then I don't need to actually, take a heap of time off after the marathon, so then I can get back into a, start of a sort of marathon block for Melbourne. Pack your racing shoes, Moose, just in case pace bib needs to be. Like, you're looking forward to doing a workout.
No, I thought we were talking about the midweek workout.
Oh yeah, no, I'll be fine. I'll be fine for pacing. Like I'm not injured to the point that I can't run. Like I have minimal pain when I'm running.
You don't want to cook your Melbourne prep though for a pacing job.
No, I'll be fine to pace.
Okay.
It's more I just want to get on top of this niggle like now, rather than train through this week, still have it, and then have to take like 2 more weeks after the Gold Coast. Because I'm not going to gain anything by training hard this week. Like, I may as well just ride it off and get to Sunday super fresh.
Recover next week and then start your block.
Yeah.
Croaks, you open to some advice perhaps on how I would change things for you?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. That didn't sound too open. Here's what I was thinking. So, like recovery running.
Yeah.
And then say you've got an easy day as well. Like, how about you break your recovery runs are like the same pace as like the day that you feel good as well. So, you sort of work out two easy days.
Bit of red traffic, like you think, mate, Moose.
Mm-hmm.
A bit of like, let's just chill on this one because you've got the workout the day before. Like, let's just chill out on this one. And I'm not saying just you do all your easy runs slow. I'm just saying maybe if it's a proper recovery day, just like not 4:10s, not 4:15s, maybe just like go 4:40s.
Yeah.
I can't believe you can do it, Moose. I don't know. I couldn't do it.
I would struggle. Like I would almost prefer to have just a day off.
Oh, come on.
I just really do not enjoy that rhythm of that pace. Like, it might be different if I'm running with other people, but when I'm on my own, I'm just going to roll around here. And like, that's the thing. It's like, I know some people can recover by like, I'm the type of person that if I'm feeling really, really tired, if I have to run 5-minute Ks, I'll just have a day off. And it's probably just as beneficial for me.
It's not. Come on. It's like 20 seconds a K. You can do it. Yeah. You can do it. It's not that slow. Trust me. I ran 450s this morning. It didn't feel that slow.
Oh, it's nice, isn't it, Moose? I love it. I was 446s, I think, this morning. Just switch off. Heart rate at 125. It's like an active recovery. Meditation out there.
I am going to have a light week this week. So I'm actually not running today. And then I'll just see whether I do a session with the group tomorrow or just jog.
Pray for Croaks. What shoes you wearing Sunday?
Probably Alpha Flies.
One?
Yeah, I've got 2 pairs of them. So I've got one that have done like 250K and I've got a pair that have done 25K.
Moose, which pair of shoes beats your legs up the least? So, I think I'm better in Vaporfly 3, but should I wear Alpha Fly 3 because they're heavier and they won't bash my legs as much?
Yeah, I would. If I was in your
that's
position.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's what I would do, yeah. I think it could be different for everybody, but that's what I would do.
That's what I was thinking about doing. I think the pace would feel easier in Vaporfly 3, but I actually want to get through and train next week. Yeah, okay. All right, yep. Croaks, looking forward to seeing you in person as well. Your outfit organised? It's been delivered?
I do, yep.
Where are you staying, Croaks?
Broadbeach.
Broadbeach, yeah.
What's that
That's
about?
near where I'm staying, I think. Surfers Paradise. That's pretty close, right?
No, it's like a couple of tram stops or light rail stops.
A couple of K jog.
About 10K into the race and about 20K? That'd be about right?
Is that where the casino's at?
25K maybe? I don't know. Yeah, it's where the casino is. I'm across the road from that.
Oh, yeah, right in the middle of Broadbeach there.
Yeah, near the expo.
Oh, yeah, convention centre. Good. I'll whistle through this week, fellas. Monday, 60 minutes in the morning, 4:41 pace. I didn't double Monday. We had parent-teacher interviews for the week at school, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night, which changed my schedule up a bit, so I didn't jog Monday afternoon. Tuesday, same as you, Croaks. I wanted to get used to the pace. We've got to run 3:25s, but I thought I'll run 3:24s just for some GPS. It's always a bit more generous, the GPS, than the actual K markers. So I did 5 by 10 minutes at 3:23 average, tiny bit quick, off 90 seconds, just shuffle jog between. So it was 56 minutes in total. I love working at that pace because it feels like it's strange how the difference between, like, I've got to kind of work pretty hard in training to get, 3:16, 3:17 base, but 5 seconds a K slower, it feels completely different. I think for me, that's my real, marker of what's comfortable and what you've got to work for. So, I enjoyed this one. In the Arvo, Wednesday, got out for
just before you move on.
Minutes. Yes, Bradley.
Any correlation here to the last interview you did with Dan Osborne Nash and him talking about doing
that's for Friday. Wait for my 400-metre workout.
Him talking about doing 60 minutes worth of threshold stuff, and here's Brady going 5 by 10 minutes. New coach.
I listened to that interview when I was doing my workout on Saturday Arvo, and I thought, fuck, Brady is just an absolute sucker for a new philosophy.
I've become a disciple of Dan Nash,
Remember
boys.
when Wardlaw come on and
Rab. Yeah, it was Rab.
all of a sudden he was back doing monofartleks and
2 hour midweek.
Oh, get a bit of philosophy about you, Brady. Form your own opinion, mate.
I like it though, boys. This wasn't at my threshold, but I definitely want to experiment going forward with, because I usually do like 35 minutes worth of like broken threshold stuff on a Tuesday, but I really want to like push it out to like 45, 50, 60 minutes. Just see what it does. Just do it for 4 or 5 weeks. Go to a race, see how you're going.
4 or 5 weeks, and then we move on to the next one.
And then I run a PB, and then I interview someone different and take on their philosophy.
It is a fun way to train, though, isn't it?
Where you just in control.
You know that, the session's never daunting. My only concern with that, and look, I was doing a lot of that stuff sort of on the treadmill, I suppose.
You get mileage too.
The sessions are always controlled, but then I think if you're not racing regularly, like you need something to stop you from being constantly in your comfort zone.
Yeah, well, I do race regularly. That's where it could work. I do want to like maybe get that down to like 315. I think my average for some of these was like 160 beats. Well, I've got to get that up to close to 170 if I'm going to truly do what he was talking about in that episode. But it could be something in it. We'll give it a go. 30 minutes in the afternoon there, 4:52 pace. Did an hour 40 on Wednesday, 4:29 pace. And then in the afternoon, Wednesday, did 30 minutes after school. Thursday, 60 minutes in the morning, 4:43s. And then 30 minutes in the afternoon at 4:45s. And then Friday, last day of school, Croaks. How good's the last day of school when you're a school teacher? Been in the oven for 11 weeks. Finally get to the end of it. Get your 2-week holiday coming up. Just like working in the mines, except we do 11 weeks on, 2 weeks off. Not 2 weeks on, 1 week off. So such a good feeling. Last Friday of school. Did 2400s.
I know you're trying to wind me up
Trying
here.
to get a reaction here.
But the entire like commute running population, as well as just probably the general population, is so sick of you fuckers talking about this. So sick of it.
We got him, Croaks. We got him.
To be fair, Moose, I never talk about it.
No, Brady does though.
Got a lot of respect for school teachers out there. Hard-earned holidays. I did 2400s in the morning in about 71 seconds up the straight road. I did them last week. 45 seconds walk in between. That's the same thing, Croaks. Like you're halfway through the session and you're like, oh well, this is done. Like it's not. I think the first time I did a big set of 400s was with you actually, Moose, in Ballarat. First one feels feels as hard as the last ones. This is definitely something I've been doing for a long time. A whole stack of 400s. It's very, very enjoyable. Would love to get on a track though and do it, not a straight road, but that's okay.
It doesn't have to be 400s. Just think about you could do a minute reps.
Yep. And you just want to be fast, but you want to be controlled. That's what it is.
Why 45 seconds recovery and not 30 or a
Great
minute?
question. I feel it's an amount of time where I can do them and it's not too hard. I think a minute would be too generous. I think 30 seconds, I don't think I could do 20 of them. But I was thinking about towards the end, cutting it down to 30 seconds. I know some people do that. They might do the first 5 in a minute, the second 5 in 45, and then the last 10 in 30. That's something people have played around with before.
Yeah, I do them off 30. And there is no, when I was sort of going through it depends how hard you run them.
Yeah.
And so I was chatting to Christian about this, and when I was talking about doing a heap of 400s off short recovery, like Ingebrigtsen style, and he's like, you probably want to target these at maximum 5K pace towards the end of the session, but you're starting off more around probably 30-minute pace for the off 30 seconds recovery.
And is that pace on the day or when you're tapered in a race?
Good question. Probably tapered.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, that's similar because I ran low 30 minutes a few weeks ago and I'm doing these at, 30-minute pace kind of thing. But I don't think I could run a 30-minute 10K Friday morning at 6:30 a.m. in this housing estate. Yeah. 50 minutes got out, easy jog. 4:43 pace. I listened to that interview on the Science of Sport podcast about the Kenyan doping, credibility crisis, it was titled. And a real big takeaway was, Ross Tucker left with the question, how are you viewing the sport? And especially the Olympics. when you see the Kenyan results, do you look at the Kenyan results and go, I look at it this way because there's been 120 positive tests in the last 12, 18 months? Or do you look at it this way, this is an amazing performance, you disregard that information? It was really fascinating the way they kind of, spoke about it, which I don't know my answer. Like, I think a bit of both.
It's hard not to be jaded now.
Chris Ransom made a good point about the shoe tech, though. Like, there's certain sports commentators out there that every result now, they just say, yep, it's because of the super shoes, though.
That's ugly chat too. Lazy chat now. I mean, we're now 7 years after super shoes have come out. It's time to stop that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But whereas you think the drug stuff, because it's currently happening and they're releasing new names pretty regularly, and the Olympics is going to happen in a few weeks, it is something relevant.
Yeah.
They didn't have really any answers. They were just bringing it up. And they had a podcast before that where they were talking about why Kenyan runners are so amazing, and they intentionally didn't mention the doping stuff because it was like you mention it and you go into it, or you don't mention it and you talk about the other aspects of, the training and the living in altitude and all the other things. Anyway, I've done a terrible job of explaining it, but go listen to it. 40 minutes on the treadmill on Saturday Arvo, and then met up with Crammers down at the farm, did 2.5 hours, which was good, 4:26 pace. I was feeling a bit under the weather, a bit run down, just kept it pretty chilled out, got some gels down, talked to Crammers about footy and life and all those kind of things. So, he was there for maybe the first hour 45, and then, did the rest solo. So a good week, 162 I think it was. Looking forward to getting some hot weather up at the Gold Coast, boys. Bit of sun on my back.
I'm not sure it's looking like that, actually.
It's still going to be like 16, 18 degrees though, isn't it? Still be warm.
Oh, I don't know. That's not that warm.
Oh, it's been
not if it's raining.
It's been like 10 degrees here, tops.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, yeah, maybe a bit warm, but it's going to be rainy. I've got the surfboard. The surf looks shit too. It's going to be awful.
Have you booked a surfboard?
No, I'm taking one up.
Really? You take him on the plane?
Yeah.
Couldn't you just borrow one when you get up there? That's got to be an inconvenience, isn't it? Taking that into the airport. You got the pram. Got all the suitcases.
I got his bike inside the case, the surfboard case.
You're taking a bike as well?
Yeah, because it's going to be bad weather. Like, we're not going to be there's not going to be beach or pool. You're going to have to find stuff to do. The thought of going to those big parks, nightmare too. Don't want to do that. Theme
parks. Bit little for that, aren't they, our kids?
Probably. Oh, maybe not. They'd like the big fluffy dressed up animal things, like the Looney Tunes and that.
I reckon that Bluey's World that's opening in Brisbane in November, that's going to be the one I'm saving for our kids' first theme park experience.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Sounds pretty good. Let's thank some Patreon supporters. Croaks, who you got?
I got Luke Thompson from England, and I believe he runs for Eastbourne. On his Strava, he says, take the risk or lose the chance. That's pretty good. And according to his Power of 10 website, these are his PBs. So 16:37 at the Hastings Park Run, 34:21 at the 2023 Brighton 10K, 77:56 at the Eastbourne Half Marathon, and 2:50 at last year's Manchester Marathon. I also believe he's an online fitness coach. So thanks for your support, Luke.
On you, Luke. Who you got, Moose?
Online fitness coach. What do you think? Like, gives out gym workouts and stuff too?
Yeah, I guess so. Well, just going through his online fitness coach, and then before that he was a personal trainer, like self-employed, and then head of cricket at Bede's Prep before that. So, I guess, I don't know, I guess, gym programs.
Bit of everything, maybe. Everything to do with fitness. Who you got, Moose?
I got Claire Thomas. She's from Anglesea, moved down here maybe a couple of years ago now, from Yarraville area. She has a 1956 5K, does a ton of cycling now, just did a massive race in the UK through like real hilly area, regional UK, 112-mile race it was, and there was some footage she put up on her Instagram, or it might have been on her Strava, about how steep some of the hills were, and she was passing people who were walking their bikes up. I think it was a gravel race maybe, or maybe it was just bad roads. But yeah, she does a ton of stuff. Always see her cycling when I'm out walking the dog. She used to work for ASICS. She was a tech rep there and also Mizuno. So she'd been in the running industry before. She came and worked for the running company for a while. When I was at Geelong, she used to work for the running company, and we had a Christmas party one time where she ended up getting yelled at by some old man in the front yard of a house on the way home on the bus. She is close record holder of an Australian record holder.
Close friends, you mean?
Close friends.
What record holder, Croaks?
I don't know.
Who wrote
No, I put that in.
Oh, who's the record holder?
So, Sinead. She's friends with Sinead.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, old South Melbourne runner. One thing that I remember, she come to a track workout one night after work, and we were doing 1K reps, and all of a sudden she stopped at the 950 metre mark and walked it in. And apparently her watch told her that was 1K, so that's where she stops. Yeah, that was pretty funny. She works, and I've got to shout this one out, Elle Torico Design, and they design passive houses, so like energy efficient houses, warming, that kind of thing, real sustainability stuff. Real cool.
Yeah, Carly was talking about this the other day. They're like massive in like Sweden or Switzerland or something, aren't they? Somewhere over there. You don't need heaters or air conditioners.
Yeah, the design of the house keeps them warm and it keeps them cool, and yeah, very good. You got to do lots of like, I guess, intricate design in how to get them to stay warm and cold.
Interesting. I'm going to thank Tom Dilly. We think he's from the UK, and he's got PBs of 17:27 at the Sri Chinmoy 5K at Battersea Park. He's also ran a 36:52 at the 2021 Kempton Park 10K, 82 minutes recently at this year's Hampton Court Half Marathon, and a 2:59 at the 2021 London Marathon. He is also the SVP, the head of finance. No, he is the SVP, head of financial institutions at Mosaic Insurance. What does SVP mean, Croaks? Senior Vice President?
That's what I was thinking.
It's a pretty good title, isn't it? Pretty good title from Tom there. We've got some smart Patreon supporters. Just heard from 3 of them. You see the London Marathon released their ballot information as well. That happened last week. My wife once again didn't get in, but I'm working on it for future races. If you want to be a Patreon supporter, patreon.com/Inside Running Podcast. Good time to sign up. Sign up. Cram the Road to Gold Coast series with Reece Edwards, Sam Hopper, Carla Chweck as they go into race week. They'll have their final episode before the race this weekend, and then their recap episode next week. So if you want content, there's about 10 hours of content sitting there. Hear all about their build-up and then what their goals are for this Sunday. Also get the show early every week. Get to support independent running podcasts, and keep us muzzle free each and every week.
This episode of the Inside Running Podcast is sponsored by 2NU, empowering everyone to fully embrace outdoor life. 2NU's performance sunglasses are designed for every adventure on the planet. Featuring ultralight frame materials that even float, 2NU sunglasses ensure you run light and free, enduring every mile. Enjoy maximum stability and comfort with 2NU's Flex Lock design, preventing slipping or bouncing during your run. Just pure performance and focus. Experience the best in performance eyewear with 2NU.
Let's go to some running news, boys. US trials still happening. Why do they go for so long, Croaks? So people can double.
Yeah, I know. Split up sort of over 2 weekends, so it actually just wrapped up earlier today, so it's all done now.
Is it the same schedule as the Olympics?
Don't think so.
It'd be smart if it was, wouldn't it? Like you just make it exactly the same, so you see who's good at doubling and doing heats and semis and finals. Like you get a dress rehearsal on it.
I don't know. Maybe it is. I'm not sure.
Anyway, 800, massive drama here because the Olympic champ and the world champion, Mu, she fell over. About 200 metres in, you'd say, boys? You reckon? It was pretty messy.
Yeah, I guess so. Or, definitely within the first lap.
Yeah. Because she's so tall, isn't she? Like, arms and legs are everywhere. Didn't look like there was much in it, but yeah,
No,
the
just got tangled
favourite
up.
hit the ground. And because their policy is so brutal, first 3 across the line at the trials, if you've got the time, it means she's not going to the Olympics. So Nia Atkins, who she fell last Olympic cycle. Did you know this? Last Olympic trials in the final. And now she was involved in her fall, and now she ended up winning this one. She won in 1:57.3. Ellie Wilson was second, 1:58.3. Juliet Whittaker was third in 1:58.4.
Is that AJ? Is that AJ Wilson? Is that her?
No, it's a different Wilson.
Yeah, right. Interesting.
And then
Is she in the race, or is she a different event? I thought she was in the. I thought she was 800.
Yeah, she's a famous 800-metre runner over there, but I'm not sure if she was there. Maybe.
Yeah.
Have to look further. The men's 8 was today. So Bryce Hoppel ran super fast, 1:42.7. Hobbs Kessler, he was in action in the 1500 as well. He was second in the 8 as well. He ran 1:43.6. Brandon Miller was third in 1:43.9. Josh Holley was fourth in 1:44.1. But is likely to get a spot if Kessler only goes for the 1500. Correct, Croaks?
Yeah. So
So he said he won't double.
Well, I'm not sure. I just put it in there because I'm guessing he probably won't double. Like, he's an outside medal chance for the 1500, and they've got heat, semis, and finals. So I'm not sure whether he'll double there or not.
Do they overlap? Like, can you run the heat, semi, and final of the 15 before the 800 even starts?
Not sure.
It's weird that he'd be in the trial race if he had no intention to go, though, isn't it?
Yeah, true. It's more so I was surprised to see him back up after already qualifying for the 1500.
Yeah.
So obviously you enter both, and depending on what happens in the 1500, if you don't make it, then you run the 800. Yes, same with a few others like St Pierre. She doubled up, but she'll probably only do one at the Olympics. Yeah,
and Cranny, didn't she? Both those girls you spoke about did the 5 and the 15. Getting to the 15 though, this is I love watching the 1500s of the US trials every time. Cole Hocker won 3:30.5. Bet Yared Nagoose 3:30.8. Beat Hobbs Kessler in third 3:31.5. I think that's exactly how I picked it last week as well, boys. So Trelful gets it right again, looking into the future, coming up with the correct guess. What about the kick on Cole Hocker? Rare to see him go that early. Usually he holds it for the home straight, but he went 200 metres to go, which, if Nagoose kept the pace down, I was worried for him actually because he went to the front probably just after a lap, maybe just before a lap in, kept the pace on us, and then, couldn't quite get rid of Cole.
It's good to see Hocker's back because I remember the last Olympic cycle, so he came straight out of college at Oregon and was killing it, and it was almost like, hey, this guy is like the next big thing. And then I reckon since the last Olympics, he sort of hasn't really done a lot, but this proves that he's, a medal chance at the Olympics for sure. Yeah.
Now, I didn't see the 15, but did you watch it today, the women's?
No, just the results.
Nikki Hiltz got the win, 3:55.3. Emily Mackay was second in 3:55.9, and Elle St Pierre was third in 3:55.9. I must watch that because obviously by those times it was very close.
That is rapid,
isn't it? Yeah, and fast too. Was that a PB for Nikki Hiltz?
Yeah, it was.
Oh yeah, that's what I remember.
PBs for all of them.
Yeah, PBs in a championship final.
I just went back, had a look. You can run all the 15 heats, semis, final before the 800 heats even start.
Okay.
So
same
doubling
with women
makes
as well.
sense. Makes a lot of sense, really, considering you can. That's just men. Women different. Women a bit overlapping, I think.
Okay. The 5K. Elle St Pierre won that. This was a great race as well. I did watch this. 14:40.3. Elise Cranny 14:40.3 as well. We're talking 0.34 against 0.36. They had to dip to see who was going to be the winner there. Carissa Schweitzer was third in 14:45. Is it Parker Valby?
Parker Valby, yeah.
She was the she high school collegiate. No, she's Florida,
college.
Isn't she? Yeah.
Yeah, she's college.
She led most of the way. She was fourth in the end. She ran 14:51. So yeah, she might also get to run in that 5K if St Pierre decides to only do the 1500. This gets a bit messy here, doesn't it? The men's 5K, Grant Fisher won that, 13:08. He already has the qualifier. Abraham New was second in 13:09, got the qualifier. Parker Wolf was third. He ran 13:10, but he doesn't have the qualifying time. But he's number 59 as we speak in the quota. And Graham Blanks, who was fourth, does have the time, and he ran 13:12.
Yeah. So if Parker Wolf if that run doesn't get him into the quota, then Graham Blanks will be the third US there, even though he finished fourth at the trials.
Yeah, they must have hated when these new rules come in, the US, because they had the most basic system. First three across the line, you're going. Doesn't matter how fast or slow it is. And now there's a few situations where you've got to wait and see. And that was the steeple, wasn't it? So
it was.
Yeah, so the men's... who was his name? James Corrigan.
James Corrigan.
So he finished third, but then he didn't have the standard, but then he went and ran one overnight. Did you see this?
Yeah, ran 8:13.
Got the standard, so he's in. And now, what's his name's out?
Evan Jaeger.
Yeah. Sydney McLaughlin also broke her world record in the 400 hurdles. And then the 10K for the women happened. Kalati got the win in 31:41. Parker Valby again was second, 31:41, but she doesn't have the qualifier. Carissa Schwarzer was third, 31:46. And Valby and Schwarzer are outside the quota, but these runs might have put them back in.
Yeah, I got a feeling that they might get inside the quota, just given the time's relatively quick, and there would have been a lot of points, the fact that it's a national championship as well. So the problem with the Road to Paris World Athletics website, it's a little bit of a lag from when they do the result, like run the result, to then getting the website updated. So at this stage they're out, but I'm sure that someone's done the sums, and there's a chance that they'll be inside the quota by the time the period ends, which is pretty much now.
Do you think this is good or bad for our sport?
The quota stuff?
It's confusing.
Yeah. Well, at least make it instant. Like, you're just playing around with mathematical equations. Like, shouldn't you cross the line and they know where she is on the rankings? Not have to wait 2 or 3 days?
Yeah, and I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do individually. Like, they would be able to look to see, all right, well, how many points do I get for running 31:41 or whatever it is? And then for finishing third, they might get an additional 50 points. So they could work it out for their own individual average. But yeah, the website needs to update a lot quicker than it does.
But then they shouldn't have to hunt around, say, the UK trials and look at those results and do that maths of those people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's just a bit of a gripe for me. Tell us about the UK trials, championships, Croaks. There's a big fall.
So this was on over the weekend, and I was sort of looking at their selection criteria today. So essentially, if you finish first and second at the trial and you have the World Athletics standard, you're automatic. The other way of being automatic is if you run the time and you won a medal at the last World Championship. So there was a few people like Josh Kerr, for example. So he's run the time. He was world champion. So he didn't even run the 1500 because he didn't have to. He was automatic. So in the men's 800, Ben Patterson got the win and he's got the standard. Max Bergen was second and he's got the standard. And Finlay McClear was third. There's a bit of drama here. So Elliot Giles, who has the standard, he made a move with about 200 to go. And maybe with 50 to go, a few guys were on his outside and it looks like he was fading a little bit and was probably looking for maybe third place. And then Josh Kerr tried to go up the inside of him and ran up the back of him and they both hit the deck. So Elliot Giles finished ninth in 2:19. Kerr got up and finished in 1:53, finishing 7th place. So not sure what's going to happen here. So the first two are automatic. The third one could be Elliot Giles. Jake Whiteman also has the time, and so does Daniel Roden. But Daniel Roden didn't run, neither did Whiteman. So Elliot Giles might get the third spot there. In the women's, Phoebe Gill got the win. Gemma Reiki was second. Both of those girls have the standard, and Keely Hodgkinson for winning a medal at the last World Championship, she was pre-selected, so that will be their 3 for the women's 8. men's 1500, Neil Gawley got the win. George Mills was second. Both of those guys have the standard. And as I mentioned before, Josh Kerr was pre-selected, being world champion. Where it's really interesting here is Jake Whiteman had to pull out of the championships because he had a sore calf. And so the only way that he could have got through is if first and second didn't have the standard. But because both of those guys do, he won't be running the 1500 at the Olympics. His only chance now is the 800, but because he's run the time there, but there's a good chance they'll put Elliot Giles in. And also, I don't know how bad his calf is, so maybe his season's done. So it's a bit of a upset and a bit of a shame. Were you guys aware of that?
Yeah, well, Australian connection here. He started the season here, didn't he?
He did, yeah. And he was moving pretty well. Like, he'd run some good 800s, decent over the 1500 and the mile. But to see him, not even run their trials and sort of almost have to hope that first and second don't have the standard. So that's no Olympics for Whiteman. In the women's 15, Georgia Bell got the win, beating Laura Muir. And Revi Walcott Nolan was third, and all three girls have the standard there. And the 5K, James West, he won, but he's outside the quota. Patrick Dever was second, and he's got the standard. And Jack Rowe was third, who also has the standard. Sam Atkin and George Mills also have the time, but they didn't race. So the only one that's, I guess, assured of a spot there is Patrick. And in the women's 5K, Hannah Nuttall, she won the race, and she's inside the quota at the moment. Verity Ockenden was second, and she's outside the quota. And Isabel Fry was third, and she's inside the quota. Interesting enough, the only people that have the standard are Megan Keith and Jessica Warner-Judd, but neither of them raced at the trials. So I'm not sure why they didn't run, but they could both be on the team, given first and second from the trials aren't automatic.
It's interesting to see how all the different countries do it, isn't it? They're all going to come together at Paris. Moose, what else you got to tell me in news this week?
Well, Australia overseas, we got Luke Boys. He ran 1:45.4. Pretty sure he got a win in that race. Is that correct?
Yeah, he did. So that was, I guess, his last chance to try and nail the standard, given that we've got three guys that are underneath the standard. I'm not sure if that was enough. So at the moment, he's still sitting inside the quota, but who knows whether, obviously this website's not up to date at the moment. So he might drop out once everything's calculated. I actually thought there'd be a lot more Aussies running in this last week, but I guess there's probably not a lot of races around, given most countries have their national championships and trials.
Yeah, okay.
But that's going to go to discretion if he is in the quota, isn't it?
Yeah, if he's inside the quota, we'll have four Aussies. Bowl's already selected, and then there's two more spots. And so selectors either choose the two athletes that have got the time, or choose one of those athletes and then choose Luke, who's obviously the national champion and inside the quota, assuming he stays inside the quota.
Is being in, I think we've had this conversation 400 times, but is being in the quota the same amount as credibility, weight, as having the time? It is from
the national federation. So the federation, I think the federation can choose anybody from inside the quota to fill up their spots.
Gotcha.
So essentially, athletics, like when World Athletics invite their countries and say, so they'll get to the men's 800 and say, okay, Australia, you've got 3 spots because you've got 3 guys qualified. Australia can then either choose those 3 or choose anybody that's who's inside the quota.
Yeah, that's right. That's why the US marathon trials, they could send the third place athlete who didn't have the auto qualifier if he was within the rankings. Gotcha. Even if there was someone lower than him with a qualifier.
So realistically, Andy, I think we had this conversation as well. So Andy Buchanan didn't have the time, but so Australia would have been given 3 spots to go to the Olympic marathon, and Andy could have got one of those spots if he was
If
in
he
the
was
quota.
if he was inside the top 80.
And it's the same way to qualify. Like you're not, how it's written, it's the same amount of like weight and like credibility. I don't know what the right word is.
Well,
here.
I guess it is from World. Yeah, it is from World Athletics, and then it's up to the federation to choose who they're going to pick. Whether they're going to choose the people that have actually run the time, or just anybody that's in the quota.
I thought there was a secondary time that they could still kind of had to be under, like 2:11.
Yeah, 2:11:30 or something, wasn't it? Yeah.
And then I'm not sure that I'm not sure that a rankings athlete replaces another rankings athlete if neither of them have the time. I'm not sure whether that. So like Liam and Andy, I'm not sure if that would work like that. I just don't know. I think it's just a bit unclear.
Wouldn't that be the same situation as the US one though? That Liam was in the quota, Andy wasn't, but he was still under 2:11.
But they have a trials to determine that though, to determine almost like the rankings within their country.
Yeah.
Okay, you come third. It's nice and clear. You're going to go ahead of this person. Whereas we don't have that.
We have selectors' discretion.
We have something. We have whatever it is that we have.
It's going to be a big week. Did you read the open letter from the Athletics Australia CEO Jane Fleming?
I didn't even read it. Oh, I kind of read it, but I skipped. To me, that was a really weird thing to put out.
I think it was more about, we know that there's going to be people unhappy with some selections coming up, so we're going to put this out and just be gentle on us.
Yeah, don't be too mean.
You still got to be open to criticism though in any aspect of life, though, don't you?
Absolutely, you do. And this is the thing. You write a criteria, how it is. You better justify your choices. And yes, you're going to cop criticism if people don't agree or if they think you've done it wrongly.
Like the men's 800 is a perfect example. Like there'll be, like Luke Boys. The argument for Luke Boys, assuming he stays inside the quota for being selected, is he proved that he is good at going through heats, semis and finals, which you do have to do at the Olympics, and he won nationals. And he beat, he beat Bowl, he beat Peyton Craig, who are the two other guys, and Deng didn't run. So, there's a good argument for sending Luke to the Olympics, but then other people will be like, well, but he hasn't run as fast as these other three. So the problem is there is no right and wrong answer.
Yeah, but discussion's good. You can't, we're not living in North Korea. You still got to be able to discuss these things and criticise and put your 2 bowls worth in, can't you?
Yeah. But for example, if Luke doesn't get selected, there's going to be people that would write all of this stuff on Athletics Australia's website saying, how could you leave Luke Boys out? And it's like, well, he hasn't met the standard the way that the others have. He hasn't run the time. So we're going to send the 3 that have run the time. So AA are almost in a lose-lose situation here. They can't win.
Well, they could, though. They could help the cause by just having a one sentence that goes with every athlete why they selected them.
Yeah, but that's still not enough. It's still not going to be enough.
At least they don't justify it all. It will just be here's the 3 names.
Yeah.
This was the main part of it. In the coming days and weeks, let us remember that this can be an emotional, incredibly difficult time for the athletes who miss out on selection, their coaches, families and supporters. Every contender has invested immense effort and sacrifice into their journey. Criticism directed at Athletics Australia or individual athletes does not serve our community well. Instead, let us focus on celebrating those who achieve their dream of Olympic and Paralympic selection. And then she did go into detail about credibility of the selectors. Our selectors bring enormous athletics experience. Some have been Olympic athletes themselves and a deep understanding of nuances of the sport and the selection policies approved by the Board of Athletics Australia. We'll put in the show notes if you want to read more. Anyway, Moose, what else you telling me? Local. Give me some local races.
Local, yes. Yeah, what we all want to, this was the big one, Sandown Relays. We saw Western, it could have been a first win for 2 different clubs maybe. In the men's, Western A's, I think, got their first ever relay win, 152.10. And, real popular win over Bendigo, who came second in 153.04. And then third place, Box Hill, 153.45. So we love seeing Western A's, like a little battler club like that, come through and beat some of the more fancied clubs.
I can't believe they'd never won one before.
They've got a good team,
don't they? Yeah, I was surprised when I heard that.
Yeah. So remember the years you got Jack Rayner, Cashin, Cody Shannon.
They must have won a relay before.
I don't know. I saw that, but yeah, I didn't.
You got 3 guys who can break 14 minutes for 5K, pretty easy.
Yeah. Well, they got it done. So that was in the men's. In the women's, Sandringham, they won. Now this is kind of like the old St Stephen's, pretty much. 151.33. Glen Huntly, close race, 10 seconds back, 151.43, and South Melbourne 152.53. So yeah, solid race here. Sarah Klein was the fastest lady. She ran 20.35. Quickening, is that a word? Melissa Duncan, 20.38, and Kate Mason was the third fastest, 20.56. Run of the day was Andy Buchanan running 17.30, which is up there with one of the fastest times ever run around Sandown.
Yeah, but they changed the direction. This annoys me. It had been going one direction for years, and now they've changed it the last couple of years, and it makes it a faster split, doesn't it?
Yeah, so, it's faster now.
So Mona ran 17.16. Collis was 17.52. I'm just looking through this list here. There was someone else who was, I reckon Troopy was maybe around 17.31.
I reckon he ran 29 one year, Troopy maybe.
Yeah.
Julian Painter, 29 perhaps. But the thing is that these athletes were at their prime back then running these. Like you had Mono running through the early to mid 90s, and he is winning bloody Berlin Marathon running 17.29, 17.30 in a lot of these years. Whether he's doing it as a full-on effort or like a race effort, or we don't know. We've got the results to go off, and so for Andy to run 17.30 it's a very good run, and it shows that he's very fit.
Gold Coast Half Marathon for him this week.
Interesting. What do you think's a pass mark then, or what you'd think he's running 62 low?
His half, I think, marathon is a bit weak, isn't it? He hasn't really had a good crack at one, so I think he'll run a big PB. I didn't like in the promo when they left the King of Bendigo off the photos.
Did they?
Yeah.
Really? Who'd they put on?
Ed Goddard.
Ed Goddard. Andy. Here we go. Okay.
Race sponsored by ASICS. Ed Goddard sponsored by ASICS. Promo photo, Ed Goddard in an Adidas kit. It's like they must have found one from years ago. Yeah, check their Instagram when they announced the field.
Yeah, that's a real big fail, that one.
Timmy Vincent's there as well, 62.01. Yeah, Andy's PB is 62.50. Ed, so you got second back. You got
second wave maybe.
Yeah, you've got Ed and Tim nearly a minute quicker than him in PBs. So I reckon he's down here. There's a couple of Japanese guys, 4 60-minute Japanese guys. And then
60 flat.
Yeah, 60-41, 60-47, 49-51. And then you've got a whole lot of 62 guys, maybe 10 of them.
Weather could play a factor, though, this weekend. But just like looking at the long-term forecast, it's 20 to 25k an hour winds.
What direction?
Southeasterly. So that's headwind on the way home.
They never run fast there, usually do they? It's more about winning, Gold Coast.
Yeah, it's always a good race. Like, remember Jack Rayner belting out a few good, last couple of Ks to win that?
Yeah, Brett Robinson, same thing. Happy to sit and then murder people in the last 3 or 4 Ks.
They normally take down guys ahead of them too, faster than them.
Yep. Western States also happened, Moose. This is your cup of tea.
Yeah. So, Walmsley, he's a big dog in the ultra world. He's probably the best that there's been, especially on this course. 14.30. No, Killian Jornay's best there's been. Walmsley's the new kid on the block. He's only run 4 of these, but he's bloody quick at them. 14.13 was 4 minutes off his course record. Kiwi, our mate, Dan Jones, 4th, 14.32, which is an incredible run. He's good at this stuff, Dan Jones. He's not that great at Lake Biwa, but he's very good at Western States. That coming 4th here, very good. Also, that time is super fast. I reckon they used to win this in like 15 hours back in the day. So very good from him.
I think I heard them say it was the 6th fastest time ever, and 3 of those were ahead of him on the day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so not many people have run that much faster than that.
Yeah,
Are you
super.
full time now, Moose?
Oh, got to be. He always seems to be off training.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Adidas now. He's on like an Adidas trail team.
Yeah, he swapped from Asics, didn't he?
He's come a long way from the Christchurch half in 2018.
Let's
you
just
beat him?
mention all the times we snapped him up. Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever beaten him, Brady?
I think I beat him at BY, didn't I? Did he have a bad one or a good one?
He didn't have a good one, I don't reckon. I reckon he went all right. That's a good question, though. You might not have beaten him. Maybe just the big dogs beat him.
Well, you and Nicky are about 7 minutes ahead of everyone else, and then it was just everyone else having shit ones, but just a matter of how shit were they?
Yeah, well, who was that? The Carlefeld? He went all right, didn't he?
Benny Saint, Carterfelt, Tyler.
Benny Saint wasn't there.
Was Benny Saint?
Yeah, no, Benny Saint, no good.
Brad
yeah, that
Milosevic.
Milicevic, yep, he had a shit one. Tommy DeCano, shit one.
Yeah,
Very fun, wasn't it? Aaron Pulford, shit one.
yeah. So I was in front of all those guys, and I still had a shit one.
Yeah, it was good for you back then, though, wasn't it?
No, not really. I think it was pretty slow. I think my iron must have been pretty low. Something was
Oh,
going
me
on there.
too. Me too.
Mate, you ran 2:14. Do you reckon it was short that day, Croaks? I've been thinking about it more and more. Him and Nick Earl haven't had a good run since.
Yeah. Nick
Mate,
Earl. Yeah. What's your best time after that one, Moose? How many minutes?
No, you ran 2:16. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's. I want to hear.
Women's Western
Oh
States.
yeah, sorry. Katie Scheid won women's 15:46, second ever female to break 16 hours. It was a fast day, wasn't it? I'm not sure what's fast there. Like, it's a weird course because you start at Squaw Valley, like a ski resort, and you run up through the ski fields, even though it's summer. But at the top, if it's a cold year, then you've got snow to deal with for like 20K or something.
Yeah.
And then you have better time down in the valleys. But if it's hot, then you might have a real fast area up top at Squaw Valley, but then the valleys can be like 40 degrees plus. So
I think that's what it was this year, Moose. I think I read somewhere that like the fact that it was so good underfoot early on and not having to run through the snow made potentially a big difference to the times.
Okay, yeah. And then you just got to battle the heat a bit late. Or if you could get a cold day, but you have a good month leading in with no snow and you're rolling.
I also think with these type of events, like we know that like the nutrition, like strategies and just that sports science stuff has come a long way, which I reckon over 14, 15 hour races is so crucial. I reckon that's one area that's definitely helping these guys run a lot faster than they used to.
True.
Yeah.
They're so dialed in with that stuff now. Yeah.
It's way more important, isn't it, in these races than like in a 100-meter sprint where it is just less things to play. Yeah.
Well, that's even this weekend, isn't it? Like, you guys be having conversations with your athletes, like being smart out there and executing a good race plan is so much more important in a marathon than a 5K because there's so much that can go wrong. Like
Even the half, really.
Yeah.
Like,
you stuff
so
up the
different.
3rd K in a 5K, you're out there for another 8 or 9 minutes, you'll get there. But you stuff up from 10 to 15K in a marathon or even a half, you're losing time, big time.
He's just regurgitating his favourite man here, Croaks. Dan Osborne Nash.
I've become a
We already
disciple, I
listened to
told
the
you
interview,
that.
mate.
Yeah.
We already listened to
I'm
the
going to get
interview.
a tattoo of him on my arm or something. See if he wants an apprentice. Listen to the question, Bradley.
Hey guys, love the show. It's race week and I've got a niggle. I'm tempted to take the week off in order to get over it, but I'm worried that if I don't run at all, I'll feel crap during the race. What would you guys do? And what's the minimum amount of running required so that I still feel good come race day?
Great question, isn't it? Who sent this in?
Johnny.
Johnny. On you, Johnny.
Because you know what I mean? It's like if you do absolutely nothing for a week. Like
This
if
is
you
a
took
bit
a
like
week
you
off,
now.
if you took a week off training and then went for your first run, you'd feel garbage. So
You wouldn't want that to be your race.
yeah. So what do? If you've got a niggle, but you want to nurse it as much as you can, but you also want to feel good come race day.
Yeah, I think it depends on your niggle. There's just very different niggles here. Tendon issue, you do not want it, like rest won't help it. maybe 1 day of rest and then sort of light load towards the race. But if you just take a week off, it might not do anything to help it at all, and it might have more of a negative effect. So you've got to assess what injury it is. If it's like some potential bone edema, bone bruising, that kind of thing, then yeah, a week off might help it a lot, and running on it is not a good thing for it. So you got to just be a little bit more sort of specific about the injury, I think, to answer this properly.
Let's use Croaks as the example, Moose.
Well, yeah, it's a niggle. All right, a niggle that you could continue to train through, but you want to get to the start line as pain-free as possible.
Yeah, I'd run every other day if I were you, Croaks.
Every second day. And would you do a session, or would you just jog?
I think I'd probably do a session, but it would be real light, and it would give me enough days before the race. So you're racing Sunday, I'd do it on Wednesday or Tuesday, and then nothing after that hard.
Yeah, because you can't get any fitter between now and race day, but you can make that niggle worse.
Yeah. But you can also go real stale if you do nothing.
Yeah. But would you ever recommend 4 or 5 full days off and then a 20-minute jog Friday and Saturday? I think you could do that as a minimum. Depends on the niggle though.
I think if you're at that point with your niggle,
yeah,
then you're probably in
shouldn't be racing.
Some strife, yeah. Because if you really need 4 to 5 days off right before the race, and then you're going to run 42k hard on it, chances are it's not going to last that. The 4 or 5 days off is a temporary Band-Aid thing, and then you're ripping the Band-Aid off at about the 10k mark, and everything's going to go to shit after that.
The last thing you can do is chase confidence in that last workout, though. And this is for people who don't have niggles. The last thing you can do this week, Croaks, is go, you know what, I need to hit, some quick reps. Instead of running them at 325, I'm going to run them at 315.
Yeah.
Just
Might be doing that, Brady.
Well, you were just telling me how big your ego is, and that's what happened in your last workout, so I'm concerned for you. Moose, control him up there when you get up there.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to love it.
330 pace, 330s.
I'll have his heart rate on my watch.
On your watch, yeah.
So that I can tell him too fast, Bradley.
Oh, wear a heart rate monitor on Sunday, Croaks. We'll compare our data.
Actually, I was thinking of doing that. I need to get some new batteries for it, but I was thinking of doing that as just a bit of data, because I don't race with it. Not that I'm racing, but it'd be good to just see where my heart rate's hovering for and then I guess compare that to then how I was actually feeling. If when I finish the pacing job, I'm completely spent, and I'm okay, well, that's pretty much race effort for the last 30 minutes. Where's my heart rate doing versus the first hour or whatever?
Yeah, we'll send it through to my boy, Dan Nash. See if he can analyse it, send us some zones back.
If you want an arm heart rate, mate, just hit me up. I'll send you a link to our website and I can bring it up for you.
You get one, Croaks, they're good.
Yeah, a bit of body glide, and the chest one's fine.
Yeah. Better swagger when they're on your arms, though, don't you reckon, Moose? Just a bit of extra tech that everyone can see.
It kind of looks like a barbed wire tat.
Pamela Anderson had barbed wire tat, didn't she?
I know, I loved it too. I thought it was brilliant. I actually, it looks terrible. If you read about it, that's trashy as. You see it on Pam Anderson, you're like, oh, yeah, that works.
Should get it up there. Gold Coast, Cavill Avenue.
You reckon I could?
I reckon. Something you can do for the 6 days leading in.
Right,
you got time on your side. No whispers this week, boys. More of a conversation starter. Where are we at? So US trials happened. Everyone in their pro kit. UK trials happened. You have to wear your club singlet. Which one do you prefer and why?
I prefer pro kit. This is a very rare opportunity where you can be in front of a big crowd, and that's how a pro athlete survives, is exposure for their sponsors. Without exposure for the sponsor, they don't get a salary. They don't have a lifestyle. They're working, and they're an amateur athlete. So club singlet's nice, romantic and all, but you got to be able to expose the brand, the sponsor on the biggest stage, represent them. That's where they get their money that they've invested in you.
Yeah, but Brooks aren't looking at Josh Kerr though and saying, hey, this is going to cost you because you're not in the Brooks kit.
Well, they've got no choice.
Yeah. Do you reckon it's a deal, mate? Breaker for anyone, though? Sign him, not sign him? What did Yaka wear at his Norwegian champs? Did you see he's a dad now, too?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, but let's not sidetrack. I don't know what he wore, but
Oh, he was in his club singlet too.
I think this could be a problem with athletics. Like you don't see other sports, like the sponsors get their name. Maybe you could put the sponsor on the club singlet. Maybe that could be something that's worked out.
Yeah, well, he looks like a NASCAR in this photo. No Nike logos.
Did he have that? Did he have that?
No Nike logos, but he's got 4 other logos on his club kit.
If they're club sponsors, maybe.
I'll send them through to you. I'll put it in the group chat now as we're talking. But yeah, you raise a really good point. Like, Nike must be looking at that going, hey, Yaka, we're paying you some pretty good money. See that photo now? You're on home soil. How come you're racing him with 4? I guess he's got their shoes on.
I reckon he gives them a fair bit of exposure, though.
That's an ugly kid, isn't it? That's horrible.
So maybe this is an opportunity for him to give other brands exposure. So he's double dipping.
I don't reckon. Yeah. I reckon Nike want to be out there for that.
The local supermarket. Norwegians, can you please translate for me what has he got on his what's he got on his kit, please? I'd love to know what those 4 brands are.
Can't see it, can you? It's a bit
hard to zoom in that far, but definitely not Nike ticks.
Yeah.
Croaks, anything to add there?
He should just get a Nike tick up on his shoulder there.
Yeah.
He's got a tat, you reckon?
Yeah, get a tat.
Can't stop that.
Add a few extra zeros to his contract.
Yeah.
Did you get the email today? Like, it is a problem with our sport. Even the email today from the Gold Coast about uniform requirements for like logo sizes, like the
World Athletics
put onto Gold Coast. So like,
but what is Gold Coast labelled or not?
It's just a label, but no like gold, silver, platinum. But it's still a label race. But so
what label then?
I think it's just called a label race, isn't it, Croaks? Is that what Ryan explained?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It
is not the Oceania Champs this year though.
Yeah, that's is that what he said?
Yeah, I just emailed him. He said, no, the Oceania Marathon, not the Oceania Marathon Championships this year. They have gone to a 2-year cycle, odd years. We have the Oceania Half Marathon Championships.
All right, so this is another problem, right? We're in July.
Next year's World Championships.
And we don't know what the Oceania Champs is. That is insane.
So they have it every odd year. So they had it last year where Liam could go and get the big points. So do you think it'd be Sydney? Was it Sydney? Sydney often changed. It must be odd and even with Sydney. Oh no, Melbourne's had it before.
It's not on Oceania Athletics website.
Is it on the Sydney Marathon website?
It's blank.
No, is he saying though that the Oceania Champs only happens every second year, not that they get it every second year?
Oh, maybe.
They're not having an Oceania Marathon Champs every single year. Maybe just every second year.
They've gone to a 2-year cycle, odd years.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's how that makes more sense.
But then does that impact our marathoners wanting to get marathon points for next year's World Champs?
But European Championships don't happen every year.
That's true.
Do they? So maybe it just falls in line with the rest of the world.
Yeah. Okay.
Good work, boys. Nutted that out.
Moose on the loose. Let's bring this show home.
Yes. So I saw some footage pops up on Instagram of this new school type running crowd, supporter, crew, we'll call it, running along at the Ottaway Marathon, the 3rd place female. I don't know how far out she was, maybe a K or so. And these I don't know what to call them, spectators, but they're also running next to her. Like, they're clearly runners, but they're sort of running. They had all the new age running apparel on, you know, those shirts with holes in them and shorts that look like jean shorts, and, you know, the short brimmed caps, kind of like cycling caps. You would have seen, you blokes haven't seen them, but I've seen them, man. Anyway, they lit these 2 flares next to the runner, and the flares just sort of go all in front of the runner, like in their face, real smoky. And then someone else runs in front trying to like film. Like, I don't know whether they were trying to create content for their run crew or for themselves or whether they were making a doc. I don't know what it was. But they fully get in the way of the athletes that were running, tripped up, and it just looked like an absolute shit fight. And I don't think that's good for the sport. Like there's certain times when things that are like attention on the sport or trying to make new and fresh type approaches to covering athletics are not working, and that's one of them. That's bullshit. And I remember it happens in the Tour de France, and it drives me insane. I get so anxious watching as the riders go up the mountain, and then there's all these drunk dickheads just jumping in front of it. And I know some people say, oh, that's the culture, right? That's the history. Like, it's just part of what it is. But people get knocked off their bike. Like, one guy got knocked down from someone's bag or something yesterday. A spectator knocked someone over. Surely that's going beyond just providing a crazy atmosphere and turning dangerous. I don't like it. I don't want it to creep into our sport.
I've often thought, Moose, when I see how close the spectators get at the Tour de France, because when you're doing a workout and things start to really hurt, how easily aggravated you are by having to dodge somebody walking their dog, or I do anyway. I find it just I get really agitated. Imagine being in the hurt locker on your bike in the Tour de France and having not just one person in your face, but a heap of people constantly in your face when you're hurting. It would be, I'd hate it.
Gosh, I'm with you. I would hate it too. And I'm not sure whether they have to say it based on the sponsors and the race saying, hey, this is great for our sport, we like this, or whether if you go out and can all the spectators, your team gets hated on from then on. But yeah, just makes me real nervous watching it. It makes my stomach turn just hoping someone doesn't get knocked down.
Yeah. Did you mention Athens 2004 when the guy got tackled?
Yeah, well, that was the other thing. That was a bit different. That was a crazy person, a crazy person that tackled that bloke. And I'm not sure he was going to win the Olympics. He was certainly moving pretty well. He was starting to slow down a little bit by then, but he got knocked. It was Brazilian bloke, I think.
Dos Santos.
Was it? Yeah.
Was it Dos Santos? Yeah.
Very vulnerable, though, compared to a lot of the other big sports, cycling and running.
Yeah, you're just exposed, aren't you? And there might be one.
Someone could easily be crazy and jump the fence and take out Kipchoge.
Yep. Yeah, they could. At any race.
Yeah. Any race. Olympic gold medal.
Yep.
De Lima it was, actually.
De Lima. Is the other guy not the 400-metre hurdler, is he? No.
No, there was a Dos Santos that was a very good runner.
Okay.
He won New York Marathon the same year that Paula won, if you remember.
Yeah, that's where I know the name from.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, good one. That's good from you. After 347 episodes, you still got good moves on the loose as Croaks.
I'm saving up one for the live show, actually.
Oh, you'll do a live one?
Yeah, I got to do a live one, and I got to get real edgy with it. Got to give the people their money's worth.
Oh, hope it's not too edgy.
Yeah, bring the lawyers, boys.
Will you tell us beforehand what it is? Will it be in the show notes?
I don't think so. I'll write the show notes on the spot.
We may not make it to episode 350.
If you're one of those 550 people in the room, you might hear it, but that might be it.
Cut it for the show, yeah.
Cut it. That is coming up. Good segue, Moose. We will be in action up at the Gold Coast on Sunday. The live show goes from 1:30 to 3:30. A tiny amount of tickets still available. On the website when it says few tickets left and has a little fire emoji. That's been put on the live show there. The celebration afterwards is at capacity. Keep an eye on our socials, though, if we can find some additional spots there. Might be hard if it's raining and we're on a rooftop, but I'm not sure what the team at Lululemon have planned for that. I'm sure they've got a plan in place, Moose, seeing how organised they were last year. You boys will be at the Shakeout Saturday morning, 10 a.m. with Jess Stenson. Looking forward to seeing you at the QT there, fellas. Nice little shakeout run, sign some autographs, looking good in your kits. And yeah, that's about all I've got. Do you want to have a quick preview? Pick a winner from the Gold Coast this week. We've got domestic and we've got international fields here. Do you want to go the women's half first? Ali and Sinead both scratchings, I got told today, that's a bit of a disappointment. That hurts the field.
Yeah, I didn't even know. I didn't see Sinead's name on the
Yeah, Sinead wasn't in the announcement, but yeah, just Ryan said today that she's withdrawn. So maybe she withdrew before the announcement went out mid last week. Sarah Hall's coming over from the US. Leanne Pompiani, Eloise Wellings, 2 Canadians, Andrea Sekafian, who spends a lot of time in Australia, Natasha Wodak, 3 Japanese ladies, Hida Nagotoma and Shimizu, and Jessica Stenson makes up the elite field. She's going to destroy that PB, isn't she? 70.59.
Yeah, you'd think so. That's soft as for her.
Marathon pace.
Very soft.
Yeah, I guess also she's
Depends how tired
in
she
marathon training.
Yeah. She has to be at the live show as well. So if you're keen to see Jess in person, and she's at the shakeout, so come to the shakeout to see her. So she's got to do the shakeout after the race on the Saturday morning.
She's training for a marathon. It's all good.
Yeah, get some extra case in the legs. Who's your winner there, boys?
Sarah Hall, I think. Hard to beat.
Is she fit?
Well, yeah, she ran. Did see a World Athletics profile the other week. Like she ran like a pretty quick 10K earlier this year.
Okay, wouldn't be coming halfway around the world if she wasn't fit, you'd think.
Well, I'm wondering why she didn't run the 10K at the US trials.
Yeah, not sure.
Because Kiri D'Amato did.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Okay. Moose, give me a pick. Give me a name.
Who's good? I'll go Jess. Jess for the win.
Yeah, it should be a good race. Be tactical too if it's windy on the way back. We've spoken about the men's. The women's marathon, though, boys, we'll get a front row seat of this, Croaks. But from a domestic point of view, Tara Palm's there, Sarah Klein's there. Millie Clark's there as the fastest Australian with her 2:26.59. I do have a list of some other people as well that got emailed today. But is Millie Clark in shape? Haven't seen a super fast time from her for a while.
She's certainly not in her 2:27 shape, I don't think. It's going to be interesting, Brady, like the women's elite marathon, because like there's only one girl that's actually run faster than the pace that they've asked us to go out at.
That should be fun.
So I don't know how much of a lead pack there'll be at 2:24, given most of them are 2:25, mid 2:26 runners.
Gemma Maney's run as well, I know that. I'm still just trying to open this document here.
Abigail Norberg making a debut. Sarah Klein, you mentioned.
She's in that doco too, isn't she, Abigail? I think
not sure.
The doco that Reece Edwards is in that's coming out this week. She's in that as well. So,
men's field's good though. There's like, 12 people that have broken 2:10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, it's a good field.
It was like 11 or 12 actually.
Who's going to be the first Australian? Tommy's not that fit according to Shoe Geeks Moose. Reece Edwards could be our man, could be the champ, Australian champ. Keep an eye on Liam Bowden as well. Have you seen his Strava?
No.
Making his debut, just been banging 200k weeks. Like week after week, 200k weeks. So it's always interesting.
I'll pick him then. I'm going for him.
Jake Barakoff, my guest from Japan a couple of weeks ago, he's running as well. If you listen
Adrian
to that interview.
Potter making
his debut. Yeah, I'm just looking at that now. He's a 63 guy, isn't he, for the half?
Yeah, something like that.
Fascinating stories there in the Australian stuff.
A couple of Kiwis making their debut.
Malcolm Hicks pacing 2:15, isn't he? Yeah, Julian Oakley, he's got some fast times over the shorter distance. Anyway, could talk about all these people all night. What do you guys got coming up between now and Sunday, boys? You're travelling, Moose. What are you doing, Croaks, before you head up there?
Not much. I'm travelling on Wednesday. So I get there like late Wednesday afternoon, evening.
Children? No children?
No children.
Oh, living the dream, Croaks.
So bit of work.
Bit of work? What kind of work are you going to do up there?
I've still got programs and stuff to write. Bit of Netflix based on the weather, I reckon.
I reckon I could see you at the Cass.
Can play a bit of roulette?
Playing the $1 table.
Too tight for the casino, Moose.
On the 1 cent slots, you reckon, Moose?
I can see him roll in with his Fox hoodie and his cargo shorts.
No, mate, it'll be all Lululemon this week.
Oh, yeah, head to toe.
White kicks, all white kicks. Got to keep them clean.
Yeah, no, I'm stepping on them first thing I see.
Keep them clean. What about they asked us to order some kit? Croaks and Moose just orders like the most expensive stuff off the website.
Yeah,
It's not even seasonal. Not even
You
seasonal
know, I'm
to
the
wear in colour.
classy of you three. I'm gonna have.
You're going to be wearing a $500 jacket on stage when you're going to be sweating.
Front of the plane, mate. Front of the plane things.
How big? Have you told anyone about the big guest coming? Kramers was asking me about it yesterday. I'll let him know, but he's the only person I've told.
No.
Yeah,
I haven't.
People in my DMs asking me, and I'm like, keep it tight. Keep it real tight.
All right.
Still a secret. All right, boys. I'll see you up there in person. Thanks for listening, Legends. Oh, there'll be no weekend interview this week. Just be just a bit too hard to facilitate with all the other stuff going on. So just go back and find an old one if you're that desperate for content. Give them a suggestion, Croaks. Which one should they go back and find?
Ross Murray.
Oh, Ross Murray. Get that one. Forgot about him.
Never listened to it, but go and listen to Ross Murray.
Listen to it on the plane, Croaks. Get it going.
Yeah.
Go listen to Brad Croker on Tell Me Your Tales from 2015. That will get you up and about for a fast marathon. We're done, boys. See us up there.
See ya.
Bye. Thank you again to this episode's sponsor, 2NU. Dedicated to creating the best performance sunglasses, 2NU offers True View optic lenses with vibrant colours and exceptional clarity. Run light and free with 2NU's ultralight frame materials and enjoy maximum stability and comfort with Flex Lock design. Elevate your visual experience with 2NU, available at Gold Coast Marathon Expo and 2NU.vision.